I'm Felicia. I'm sitting in a coffee shop, the rain outside creating a rhythmic patter on the window. My hands are still shaking as I stare at the screenshots on my phone. They're a stark reminder of the financial betrayal that's been going on right under my nose. My husband, Ethan, and I had been married for 3 years, together for 5. We were like any other couple, building a life, sharing dreams, and making plans. Ethan worked as a software engineer at a well-known firm, and I was a graphic designer at a trendy advertising agency. My income was higher than his, but we always considered it our money. We had joint accounts for bills and savings, and small personal accounts for our little splurges. Ethan's mother, Vivian, lived in a cozy cottage in the countryside. She was a widow, having lost her husband, Ethan's father, in a car accident when Ethan was in his early 20s. Vivian was a complex woman. On the surface, she was warm and friendly, always asking about my work and making small talk. But there was always this underlying sense of pressure, like she was constantly sizing me up. It all started 6 months ago. One evening, as we were having dinner, Ethan mentioned that his mother was having trouble paying her property taxes. "She's just a bit short this month," he said, looking a bit sheepish. I agreed to help out with $500. It was a significant amount, but I thought it was a one-time thing, a way to support family in need. Over the next few months, the requests kept coming. The roof needed repairs, the car broke down, and then there was a medical emergency for her dog. Each time, Ethan presented it as an urgent situation, and I couldn't say no. After all, family was important, right? But then, one fateful Saturday morning, I was paying our bills online. Our joint account balance was shockingly low. We had just been paid, and there should have been at least $6,000 in the account. Instead, there was only $847.32. My hands started to tremble as I checked the transaction history. There, dated the day before, was a transfer of $4,200 to an account I didn't recognize. The memo line simply said, "Mom." I woke Ethan up and confronted him. His face went through a series of expressions: confusion, realization, and then defensiveness. He tried to explain it away as an emergency, but I knew something was wrong. I remembered all the times he'd been evasive when I asked about the money he was giving his mother. Just then, Ethan's phone rang. It was Vivian. I answered it and put it on speaker. She cheerfully asked if Ethan could send her a little more money because her online shopping order for her dog's supplies had been declined. That was the final straw. I told her that the free ride was over, that my paycheck would no longer be used to fund her lifestyle. Vivian was furious. She accused me of turning Ethan against her, but I stood my ground. Ethan just stood there, silent, looking like a deer in the headlights. I couldn't believe that he had been so blind to his mother's lies. I left the apartment, driving aimlessly through the rain. I needed space to think. I ended up at this coffee shop, far from our usual haunts. I called my best friend, Lily. She listened as I poured out my heart, telling her about the months of money transfers, the lies, and the betrayal. Lily was the one who pointed out that it was financial abuse. At first, I couldn't believe it. Ethan was just trying to help his mother, right? But as she explained it, I realized she was right. Ethan had been making unilateral financial decisions, lying to me, and using our joint funds to support his mother's extravagant lifestyle. Lily suggested hiring a private investigator, Max. He was Lily's husband's cousin, and he specialized in financial investigations. I decided to give it a try. 3 days later, I sat in Max's office, my heart pounding. He showed me the evidence. Vivian owned her cottage outright, with no mortgage. The property taxes were paid in full, and there were no major repairs done on the house in the past 5 years. The photos he showed me were even more shocking. Vivian was at a high-end spa, a luxury restaurant, and a designer store. She was living a life of luxury on the money that Ethan and I had been saving for our future. I took the evidence home and confronted Ethan again. I told him that he needed to call his mother and face the truth. He was hesitant at first, but I made it clear that if he didn't, our marriage was over. Ethan finally called Vivian. When he asked her about the mortgage and the supposed repairs, she tried to deflect and make excuses. But Ethan stood his ground, using the evidence I had given him. Vivian broke down, admitting that she had been lying. She said she was lonely and wanted to enjoy life a bit, but that was no excuse for what she had done. Ethan was devastated. He realized that he had been used, and he apologized to me. I told him that for our marriage to work, he needed to go to individual therapy to learn how to set boundaries with his mother. We also needed marriage counseling. And until Vivian paid back at least half of the $30,000 she had taken, she would get no more money from us. Over the next few weeks, things were tense. Vivian called multiple times, but Ethan didn't answer. She even showed up at our apartment, but I sent her away. She threatened to sue us for invasion of privacy, but I had all the evidence I needed to prove her fraud. 6 months later, we still haven't gotten the $30,000 back. Vivian declared bankruptcy, and our lawyer said it wasn't worth pursuing. But our marriage has slowly started to heal. Ethan is in therapy, and we're in marriage counseling. We've opened new joint accounts with strict rules, and we're more careful with our finances. One evening, as I'm sitting on our balcony, watching the sunset, Ethan comes out and sits beside me. He tells me that Vivian tried to hire Max to investigate us, but Max refused. I just shake my head. She still doesn't understand that she's the one in the wrong. I look at Ethan and ask him if he ever regrets not trying to reconcile with his mother. He thinks for a moment and says, sometimes. But I know that she never really apologized. She's only sorry she got caught. I nod in agreement. We can't let her toxic behavior ruin our lives. Our savings are growing again, slowly but surely. We've learned our lesson, and we're stronger as a couple. I know that trust takes time to rebuild, but I'm hopeful that our marriage will continue to grow and thrive. And Vivian? She's a cautionary tale, a reminder of the importance of setting boundaries and not letting others take advantage of us.